Hello and welcome to this episode of the World's Best Coaches series, the series where we're going around the world and we are interviewing the best of the best when it comes to coaching and consulting. Today, I am joined by Andrea Schwarz, the founder and executive of IMUA OLA. Andrea, I'm just going to hand it over to you for a second, just to kind of introduce yourself and kind of explain exactly what the name of your business means firstly, because that would be quite interesting to know. But yeah, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Sam, for having me, and thanks for the curiosity in IMUA OLA. So a very small story. I started out as a kid in Germany, and I had a very, very big dream to live one day in Hawaii and work with dolphins. And as you can imagine, growing up in Germany, where rules are very strict, I was told many times why and how that was not possible in my life. So I was early on faced with what we in coaching call limiting beliefs. And fast forward a couple of decades, I'm happy to tell you that I actually do live in Hawaii and I have worked with dolphins. However, my passion is working with people. And my purpose in life has now become transformative coaching, changing people's lives and making their dreams come true. So as I have moved to Hawaii, the name of my company, IMUA OLA, is Hawaiian, is interpreted, not literally translated, but interpret from the Hawaiian language. IMUA is a word that we use for a push forward, push a little harder, keep going. It's used in sports, but it's also been used in war in the past. And OLA is a word for life. So it's the meaning of life moving forward. So any coaching that moves your life forward is what I do now.
That's amazing. I mean, what a dream. And then to actually achieve that, I think that's fantastic. I've never actually been to Hawaii myself, but it's on one of the top of my bucket list items for sure to get there at some point. But let's start at the beginning of your coaching journey. So tell me about that. How did you get into it? You know, why did you go into it? And how has it been so far?
Mm. The journey started as a leader in different corporations. I worked for companies like Adidas, Reebok, Novartis, a couple of brands, and I worked around the world. So it's always been about people come first. People are the biggest asset in a company. So I would probably say it started out with more on the mentoring side, helping people with my own experience and the stories I have learned, and then training up as a coach through my decades in corporations because there's a bit of a difference between mentoring, coaching, and consulting. And I walk the line across all of them and even have added some teaching to it. So the whole quadrant, basically. So I've been mentoring and coaching throughout my corporate career, and that was always my passion. And in a funny way, I always called it people chess back in the day, because it was about finding out what people's aspiration was, or as I told you, what is their limiting beliefs and fears that you want to overcome to move them to the next career step, typically, or to the next step in their life. Or, I worked a lot with Indian colleagues. Their next step sometimes was an arranged marriage that they had to fit into their life as they were working in my teens. So a lot of that was, finding the next steps and overcoming hurdles. So I've always loved coaching and mentoring. While I was in corporations, mostly in either IT or operations roles, or CIO, head of operations roles, you can imagine when something breaks in an IT organization, it is hard to keep the people first principle. So after doing this for 20 years, institutionally, I said, okay, let me remove the operations and focus solely on the coaching. And that's when IMUA OLA was born.
That's amazing. So when did you start this then?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Fantastic. So stepping into the client side, I'm sure you've met so many people now in business and within the coaching area anyway. What are some of the challenges that you're seeing, like the most common challenges in 2024 now with these people?
So I coach anything, startups, entrepreneurs, women leaders is a particular passion of mine, and corporations.
Yeah.
So what we see across everyone is limiting beliefs and fears, right? I've said that before.
Yeah.
But a couple of particular topics that I've come across as I'm in the dream making business is people that don't have a dream. It's a very gray world right now, And it's like when I ask, like, so what is your dream? Some people say, oh, I don't have one. Or maybe they have a career aspiration and it's a very clear next step in a career that either the boss expects from them, or it is like necessarily in the career path or something like that. So one of the things I come across is like really discovering dreams with people,
Yeah.
and I truly 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 love this. Another thing that unfortunately we've come across a bit globally right now is the we don't live in abundance, like I don't have enough money, or I am not rich enough. So there is talks around that. What does financial wealth mean, and how important is it for your own happiness?
Mm.
And another thing that just came up yesterday was when people get promoted into leadership roles and they feel this is a reward for what they have done so far, it's a wonderful pivotal moment of saying what got you here won't get you there. So it's about what do you want to stop doing to get into that next step in your life. And that can be your next career step. Also, for some people, that can be the next second act. Like for me, when you leave a corporate career and then start your own business or something like that, what got you here won't get you there.
Yeah,
Beautiful work as well.
you're quoting the famous Marshall Goldsmith there, I think.
That's Marshall Goldsmith, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
It's fantastic. We had the privilege of working with him. I've seen him live as well. He is one of a kind, absolutely. But yeah, it was interesting when you touched on the dreams thing. I think it's so apparent nowadays in this current world that people are swamped by society in the way that businesses run now, and they lose sight of their own dreams and goals. And it's sad to see. It's one thing that we do here with our team is we're making sure we dream board and everything for people because it's so important. Yeah.
It is. It is important. It is important to dream and to be a bit scared of that dream and to make it a bit bolder. And just to add, one thing is also, it's not our job as coaches or as friends, sometimes we do it as friends as well, to criticize somebody's dream. That's not our job. Our job is either to, empower them or help them visualize it, or just, listen to the dream. And then when it comes into that second stage of when it's like a plan and how to implement that dream, that is a really good time for us to ask for feedback, or for other people to criticize and give feedback on that dream in how to make that dream better. So let's not criticize the dream, let's criticize the plan and then help execute.
I think that's fantastic. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure you've been asked this question before, but you know how the big AI kickoff was about 2 years ago. It must have been around when you started out. It blew up really. The whole world went crazy for about a month because everyone was like, "Oh my God, Chat GPT." But do you think that's going to be impacting the way that you deliver your process? Are you utilizing yourself to adapt the way that you deliver your service?
Absolutely, yeah. And as you know, I've worked in IT for a long time, so it was kind of we had access to some beta versions of those things and been a little more on the early adapter side. So yes, I use it myself for my business, and I'm gonna step my foot forward with some vulnerability here. So you hear an accent in me. So I grew up in Germany, went through immigration and eventually citizenship into the United States. However, I still have a limiting belief that my writing is not good. I'm not good enough as a writer. So when AI came and I was running my business, it was one of the first things I started using, ChatGPT and other AI functions, Grammarly and things like that, to improve on my writing. So when you see something now that I post on my social media or website content that I write, I will write it myself, and then I will use AI to improve my writing. And it's been help for my confidence, let's say the least.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I use it all the time. I think all the team
Yeah,
do, but it's fantastic. So
yeah.
in the UK, we have this interesting thing where there's a little bit of a misconception around business coaching and consulting. People aren't necessarily massively open to allowing someone like yourself to step in and peel back the
Mhm.
layers and help in that sense. Have you ever come across any of these kinds of misconceptions in your line of work?
I have them, and um, with all the love that I have for global, there is a difference in working with different cultures. So I typically start my day with Europe, and this is where I see that phenomenon, right? Then I have my day as I live in Hawaii, right? Then I have the East Coast and the West Coast coming up, and then I take a break for my own sanity and go on the water and paddle. And then in the evening, I have the privilege to work with the Middle East and Asia. So I see that difference of perception of coaching across the world. Where in Europe, and I'm going to speak very specifically about Germany maybe for a second, it's this attitude of, oh, I don't need help. I know how to do my job. I don't need somebody to tell me how to do my job. And again, I have the privilege to work with some Germans, so it's not all of them, right? Let's not be prejudiced, but yes, I see that there is still a lot of that. And then you come to the US, where it is an absolute privilege to have a coach, right? It's something that a company invests in you and gives you a coach.
Yeah.
And in the Middle East and Asia, I see a lot more movement right now into out of pocket. Like, I want a coach. I might not be in the right role, or the company might not sponsor me for that, but I want to invest in myself. So there is that trend that I see. And again, this is like my personal experience. I'm not saying this is the coaching industry, but in my world, this is a little bit what I see developing.
No, absolutely. One of our clients works in Dubai, and they were talking about it the other day, where they've seen a huge shift in the past year with
Yeah.
just business owners opening up to this style of thing and getting their teams coached by them and everything. It's really impressive to see. And you also touched on Germany. We work with a few Germans, and it is interesting. We work with the UK, Germany, and the US, and there's such a stark difference between dynamics and the way that you talk to each other and everything. It's crazy.
Yeah. And maybe this is a good plug for your audience to say, coaching is not about telling people how to do their job.
No.
It's not. It's, so when you have that perception that you don't need help and somebody telling you how to do your job, that's not what coaching is. Maybe this is one of the messages we can get out there today, Tim.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm in corporate now, for example. I'm in a career I've done 10, 15 years, 20 years, and I have always wanted to become a business coach or a mentor. What kind of advice would you give me making that big leap right now?
Well, look, you're talking to a dream builder girl, right? So definitely I would advise first start out with the dream.
Okay.
Right? Again, start out with the dream. Don't criticize your own dream, right? Oh, I don't have money, or oh, maybe I don't have a certification, or this or that. Like, it's very easy for us to find reasons why we can't do it.
Yeah.
So my first advice would really be build that audacious dream, and only that dream, right? And then build the plan. That's when you start criticizing the plan and put together a financial plan and how to do it and all of that. The second thing is, how as a doctor, you need to go see a doctor. As a coach, you should have a coach. So, I've had always coaches through my whole career. And when I started my own business, my executive coach from my company actually changed the contract. She's one of Marshall Goldsmith 100 coaches, by the way. So I should maybe say that. So she's one of Marshall Goldsmith. So she was able to change the contract she had with me from executive coaching to practice development coaching.
Wow.
And there are coaches out there. I do that too. I help other coaches develop practice, which is, how to set up a business, how to enroll clients, but also you receive coaching, and then, coaching hat on, coaching hat off, meta coaching moment. Okay, this is how I just coached you, right? So get yourself a coach for that as well, to learn that. That would be my second advice, right? And the third one is my mastermind. So besides having a coach, when you start out on a business, have a mastermind group around you, like that's peers, other coaches, but also that's somebody that challenges you, like a company, corporations have a board, right? A board of advisors or something. I call these my mastermind group, a challenger, a cheerleader, an advisor, some peers, and have that really nice mastermind group around you. So those would be my three advices. Dream, build a dream, get a coach, and have a nice mastermind.
I love that. I love the word mastermind group. That's fantastic. That's really cool. And you know, doing a few of these interviews now, meeting some fantastic coaches around the world. I mean, every single one of them
Yeah.
has somebody that is their coach, and they say, you know, yeah, like you said, that they're there to just ask the right questions and, you know, help them develop. And it's fantastic. Yeah, it's great to see. So you're a traveler. You build dreams for people. You help people do that, and I think it's really, really cool. But what's next for you? I'm really interested. What's your next kind of dream? Are you going to
Mm.
plan on traveling more? Are you going to leave Hawaii at some point? And also what is the plan for your business? What's the aspiration?
Mhm. Thank you. Yeah, I always, as soon as I have a dream achieved, I'm building my next. So for my company, as one of those business arms is and was one-on-one coaching, right? That deep, fearless coaching that we know. I am also building a speaking business now. So I've started with keynotes on confidence. I do a lot with women. I told you, you know, imposter is still a big deal for women and men, but I do a lot of speeches around confidence, how to build it from the inside and the outside. So I'm building up a speaking business and had my first chances in Dubai. I was there for a month, just in May this year, to test it out. It was beautiful. I really loved it. And the other thing, so you talked about dream, like what's the dream? So I told you one of my passions is to be on the water. I've been swimming before I could walk, basically. And now that I live in Hawaii, I'm part of the paddle ohana, the paddling community, outrigger canoes, stand-up paddleboard, and things like that. So the next thing is to combine outdoor learning experience with leadership development coaching.
Okay.
And we piloted that in Hong Kong last year with a paddling club in Hong Kong, and it was really amazing. And now in August, we're gonna have pilots in Hawaii. So it's about building deeper connections, better communication, and intentional trust with teams by taking them out on the water in outrigger canoes.
That's amazing. I really want
So
to come.
please do. You see, here's your dream of being in Hawaii, and it's you can bring your team and do a leadership development.
Oh, it sounds absolutely amazing. That's so cool. So, what I like to ask though, when I've heard about the aspirations of people's firms, I like to ask, what are some of the challenges that do you think you're going to face getting to there, though?
So as a coach, I have to always say this, right? Your biggest challenge is yourself,
Yeah.
right? It is your own limiting beliefs. Like I could say, well, you're a German in Hawaii. Who's gonna take advice from a German in Hawaii when every paddlers are from either Tahiti or the, you know, or Hawaii? So why me? I could start doubting myself, right? And things like that. So I definitely believe that to overcome first, it's our own thoughts
Hmm.
and how to reframe that and how to overcome that. The second thing is, you know, in many cases, you talked about business coaches, it's also business logistics, right? How am I going to have access to those canoes? Are there maybe any kind of waivers that I need or lifeguard experiences that I might need or something like that is some logistical. I've come from, you know, 20 years of operation. So this is always my next thought is like logistically, operationally, what do I need to put in place? I'm pretty sure there's some hurdles in that to overcome.
I'm
And
sure.
they are all overcomeable. If the dream is there, right? And that dream is that dangling carrot always right in front of you, and the plan is attacking all of these obstacles, then you can tackle one at a time.
I am sure that it will be fine as well, and it will go swimmingly. Absolutely.
Well, you can come for the pilot, Sam.
I hope so. I really want to hear about it. Yeah. So what I like to end on when I do these interviews
Mhm,
is getting a little bit of educational feedback from you in terms of
mhm.
what is one book or inspirational book that you've read? It could be business book or not, but what is one book that you would recommend everyone that's listening to read at least once?
Into the magic shop.
Into the Magic Shop. Okay.
Into the magic shop. Um, when I was in my corporate career in Novartis and in the pandemic, they gave us access to Audible and they said only business books. And then there's this book called Into the Magic Shop in the business book section. I'm like, I love the word magic. I'm totally curious. I'll take that book. And that was really seriously the only reason why I did that was the title. Fast forward, this is a book from Dr. James Doty,
Okay.
who is famous for his work in compassion and empathy. He works at Stanford and leads an institute around that. And that particular book is on visualization and manifestation.
Right.
So when I talk about build your dream and then make it happen, a big part of it is actually following people like James Doty and how do you visualize this dream coming true? How do you feel the feelings of when that dream is coming true? And how do you manifest that dream into reality?
Mm.
And that is that book, Into the Magic Shop. And he has just written a second one. I hope I'm saying this right. It's Mind Magic. That just came out this year in June, May. So the one book, Into the Magic Shop, would be what I say to people if they want to make their dreams come true.
Alrighty. Well, I'm 100% going to go and check that out. That sounds really, really interesting. I need to do a little bit of manifesting and dream building myself, I think. So absolutely, that's amazing. Well, look, thank you so much for coming on, Andrea. It's been really a wonderful story as well. And I think it's really fantastic what you're doing. But if people want to find you anywhere, where can they find you?
Yeah, thanks. I'm on social media with IMUA OLA everywhere, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. And I have my own website, imuaola.com.
Yeah.
And there you can also find my phone number, my email. I have WhatsApp. So on any of these channels, you can find me. And always some fun videos of the water coaching out there as well, if you're curious.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was great.
Thank you, Sam, for having me.